If you're an apparel entrepreneur and a brand founder, you might want to listen to these 5 mistakes that are really common that brands make.
The first mistake we're going to talk about that we see brands make is that make everyone their customers. And the thinking goes, the wider the audience, the better, the more sales we're going to make. But that's not the truth. Not everyone is your customer. Early on, determine who your target customer is, what your product is about, where your market is, and then focus on that target customer. Because you can't make a product that fits everyone on earth. So you make your product for your target customer, and then you make your marketing all around that.
If you're wasting your energy trying to please everyone, you please no one. And this, of course, has to do with following a specific niche. For example, if you're doing lifestyle wear, yes, who's the target customer? What age are they? Where do they live? What's their lifestyle? Where do they go in your products? If you're starting or if you're running an activewear brand, what type of activity are you creating the products for? Is it yoga? Is it running? Is it hiking? Is it whatever? It needs to be a small niche because that's going to, of course, dictate the choices you're making in the fit of the product, in the materials you're choosing, in the features you're having in your products, in all the small details that you're putting in the garment. And then, of course, in the communication and all the content that you're putting out that is going to speak the same language as your target customer, because you're going to attract them by the language that you're having when you're explaining your niche, when you're explaining your product, and when you're talking about your brand.
And the second mistake we see brands make is that they think it's enough to make the products, and then they just think people come and buy it. So basically the mistake is not selling. Making the products is just half the job, or just a portion of it. You need to sell it as well. You need to market as well. You need to put in some kind of effort to attract people. If you put all the energy in just making the product and putting up a website and think people will come, that will not happen. Then you need some kind of job in order to drive the people towards you and find out about your products and know what's great about them so you can actually sell them. And you have to plan for this early on. Incorporate into your strategy how you're going to market and sell it. Once your products are ready and launched or in your storage, that's too late, because then you have to wait until the market finds out about your products and finally can buy them. So start your marketing as early on as you can.
To build anticipation. So when your products are already, on the website, ready for people to buy, then people will be there excited about the shop, that the shop is open, that they actually get the products. Imagine you're opening a shop and nobody comes. That's the difference.
And the third mistake we're going to talk about today is when it comes to D2C, selling online. People are just so happy because they're going to get higher margins, so they forget that there's a cost involved in selling even online. So the brands, they put all the focus on the products again, and they put the focus on the website and put it out and think that it's not going to cost them anything to attract the customers. But there is always a cost involved in attracting the customers and doing your marketing and your sales. No matter if it's a salary or if you're paying for ads, some kind of effort is needed. And this is something that you have to incorporate into your calculations and your budget when you start out. That it's not free to sell. Just because you don't see that big cost of the retailer taking half of your margin when you sell it, doesn't mean that you don't have any cost when it comes to D2C. When you're selling retail, you're paying for a service that someone else is selling your clothes. But when you go D2C, you have to find that service elsewhere.
You see many other brands, they have free returns. Free returns, yeah, but someone's actually paying for the shipment. Who's it? Is it you or is it the customer? Again, like Klas said, you need to have your calculations. You need to make sure that you're covering your costs, that you have your margins to actually take back and reinvest in your business. But there's also an acquisition of customers. That's a cost. With all the ads and all those things that are involved in actually getting people to your website so they can get excited about your product, so they want to buy your product.
And then you also have the customer care that normally is handled by shops if you go retail, but when you do D2C, that's something you have to handle yourself. So either it's a cost for you to outsource it or it's a cost for your time when you're doing it yourself. And the next mistake is also centered around costs. And that's we see brands, they don't make an effort, or they think there's no need to make calculation for how much is needed to sell in order to succeed. And they never create an action plan to achieve it. So basically, based on your business plan, you set your sales targets and your strategy, and you can easily calculate how much you need to sell. And even if you don't have all the numbers in the beginning, you can make estimations. You know this product is costing you $20 to make. You're selling it for $50. You know your margin and you know the profit you need in the end to cover your overheads. Then it's easy for you to reverse calculate how many products do you actually need to sell. And when you know that number, you can make an action plan for selling that number.
And the fifth mistake is that you wait a long time to actually jump on new social media trends. And this is actually a big mistake because, especially as an example, one of our customers, she did basically 96% of her business through Instagram. Then Instagram changed the algorithm. Literally, almost her entire sales just disappear because that's where she had her sales. Because she didn't jump on TikTok, she didn't create a newsletter, she didn't focus on building a customer's direct traffic to her website so she could sell that way. You need to see where the trends are going and where the traffic is coming from and kind of diversify a little bit, because if you're only stuck on one thing that you know works, in a year it might not work because you cannot control the algorithm. The algorithm in most social media platforms, they're there not to satisfy your needs, they're there to satisfy their needs. And you know, if they are not happy with how things turn out, then all of a sudden the algorithm changes and out you go. Half the traffic goes down to 2% of your, followers see your content. That's not a good strategy. So yes, if TikTok comes, maybe that's a good idea to try it out. Maybe it is a good idea to focus on email marketing because that's how you control your customer. Maybe it is a good idea to maybe write more blog posts so you can have people coming directly to your website because of SEO. Maybe it is a good idea to do events, personal events. Maybe it is a good idea to diversify. Yes, I know it sucks because you know that something works, you want to go full speed ahead. But you don't control these platforms, basically. So it is clever to slightly diversify, do calculations, of course, on what it takes, try it out, test it out, use it as a tool instead of saying, I don't know TikTok, I don't want to do a dance. You don't have to do a dance on TikTok, but maybe that's where your target customer hangs out. They don't most probably hang out on Facebook because that's only old people that hang out on Facebook. So things change, times change, customer behaviors change, you need to adapt.
So these were 5 mistakes that we've seen brands make when it comes to marketing and sales. If you haven't seen them before, we have videos when it comes to starting your brand, when it comes to running your business, when it comes to product development. And if you want to have information about everything when it comes from running your business to design, branding, product development, marketing and sales, sign up for our newsletter. It's free. You can find the link below in the description. See you again.